Okay, hello everybody. There are a lot of readings. What's that? They read lot things before start we talking.
Do you understand?
I do quite
He
well.
said that they read a lot of things before we actually start talking.
They're all interesting.
Maybe you're a little bored.
Maybe you're a little bored.
Okay, everybody set of very good motivation to benefit all sentient beings, achieve enlightenment. Therefore, study or listening this kind of teaching. Okay?
Do you understand?
Oh,
If you don't understand, just say. I can repeat it. I
yeah.
translate his English into my English. He said before the teaching you should set up a motivation that now you're going to listen to this teaching, and you should have the motivation that you're doing that in order to learn how to benefit all sentient beings.
This is all religion, thought, idea. Right?
Yeah, it's the idea behind religion, all religion.
Okay, you can translate, okay?
I'll do my best.
I can say also English Tibetan word.
Okay, good.
Maybe I say English, maybe you more understand.
It's an interesting type of translating.
Your English is good. Your English is...
You really, we rejoice. Your English
Your
is
English is getting...
very, very good.
You guys said
I think also you guys are being very good listeners. Your ears are getting very good.
No,
you guys told me this, then I'm very what's that, birth?
Embarrassed?
A birth.
it's very good.
Maybe a little bit.
Better and better.
Anyway,
Kali.
we Buddhism talk about most things our mind, right? Usually the scientists, they check outside physical things. Right?
Yeah, physical things.
Whatever they can check or see, they use the, what do you call it, I don't know, machines?
Yeah, sure.
Microscopes.
Microscopes. They can see
Particle smashers.
how much, how big, how long. They can check also, they can say exactly, most, I don't know, but, most, even the MIT and Harvard, they say I'm the best ones. But they don't, I don't know if they check or not, but they're not identified what can't man or have. Then what can't man walk, what can't job. You understand?
They check a lot of things outside, but they haven't been able to identify, first of all, I think, what kinds of minds we have, and also what kind of minds do what type of work. So.
But even they can check that maybe they're not found exactly. Even how many stone, we call them, these machines,
Ephemeral.
Microscope.
or microscope, they didn't see the minds. But our Buddhism give different kind of minds, different names. But can you say maybe he doesn't understand?
So he's saying in Buddhism that this tradition identifies all the different types of minds and gives them specific names. So they have a very subtle kind of explanation of all of the different aspects of mind and what they do.
Then we give them names, then look at this man called, some, the name. Then this kind of mind walk, visible these things. Therefore, many different kind of minds. Those are then many different kind of jobs then. They have to do their job. Otherwise they lose their job. Therefore, we talk about we have good mind and bad mind. Then when we use the bad minds, then we have bad things happen. When we use good minds, then we achieve or we got or good things, good situation. That's correct?
Could you understand?
There's a piece I missed.
So Buddhism identifies these different types of minds, and then also which type of work each mind does.
Right.
So some minds do things that are bad, not really useful for us, and other minds do things that are really good and useful for us. So if we use a bad mind, then we end up having bad results or bad experiences. And if we use good minds, we end up having good results or good experiences.
Also, our mind is very intelligent. Whatever we teach, they can learn. Right? Even if we don't teach, it's different. Different. If you teach anything, they can learn, right? Do you have anything we have there? Oh, if we teach our mind this kind, maybe they don't learn. I don't know, maybe we don't want. But anyway, whatever we teach our mind, they can learn. Also, good things and bad things also our mind learned. If we learn bad things, then we use that mind to follow our actions, body, speech, action that follow the bad mind. Then we have bad things happen. Right? Now, for example, what kind of mind is a bad? What kind of mind is a good? For example, we say attachment and angry. We say this is bad. Why? Because we follow them, attachment and angry, we have always bad situation happen. Right? Then what kind of mind is good? If we have some good mind, if we follow them, this kind of mind, then what result or what we got? We need to identify that kind of mind. We say, just compassion. This is not just religion. Compassion is not only religions. They're not talk about religions. Compassion. Then loving kindness. What's it?
Loving kindness.
Loving kindness. This kind of mind is good because they take care of always others. Even just our ordinary person, not the Mickey Mouse, no, ordinary.
Yeah, ordinary people.
Ordinary people who take care of others. We say, oh, this is a good guy, this is a good girl, this is a good person. They think about others, they help others. Everybody said this, right? Who doesn't care others? They just say, I'm the best one. If you don't listen to me, I'll kill you. He said, oh, this got bad. Now everybody maybe watch the news. What's that? This president or prime minister?
Oh yeah,
Libya?
Gaddafi. Yeah.
Gaddafi.
Yeah.
You know, he's a strong guy, you know. He doesn't want to give up his power. Everybody say, oh, he's a bad guy. You know, he said, I want to take care of my government, my people. But exactly his motivation is he doesn't want to lose his power. Right? Therefore, he just think about himself. He use others. Then we say, oh, he's a bad guy. Everybody say, I don't know. Maybe somebody doesn't say, I don't know. The most say, you know, he's a bad guy. Then, for example, Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi, everybody say, oh, he's a great person. Then other, Dr. Martin Luther King. Everybody say, oh, he's a good guy. Why? He take others. He think about others, you know. Therefore we say, oh, he's good. That's same. We say, compassion and loving kindness, thinking or taking care of others, we say that's good mind. We need to develop that kind of mind. Okay, I think I finished my English. Okay, these are Tananzo, Shambadang, Nije, 70, Tananzo Jilla, Susu. Susu Sem Kayara, Susu Gigi Sem Timola Pati or so. Garansu Gigi Sem. Sem Jig, Shambada, Nije Mola Pati or so.
So we have to know the distinct essence of one mind versus another mind, like the various types of mind that arise in our continuum, in our experience.
Right. Therefore, Tendreza Mamsujela Shambada Nije, Jembeng Sambaya Poyana, Miti Shawalango Yures,
Midi Kare
Shawalango, Language.
Oh, okay. So, so people who give rise to love and compassion in their minds, they tend to be successful. Right?
Yeah, successful.
They tend to be successful.
Even who has really strong ego and angry, this kind of person very difficult to successful. So,
yeah, difficult to succeed. Yeah, things don't go well for them. Yeah, so why is it that things don't go well for them? Because in their way of thinking, there is some mistake. And because of this mistake, then because they have this mistake in their way of thinking, then other people won't follow them. Right?
If other people doesn't follow whatever he think.
I'm making him do my job.
Right? If other people doesn't do whatever he or she think, then he or she job is not successful.
Yeah. So I think what he's saying is the reason people who are selfish or who have a lot of kind of poor qualities to their personality or their way of thinking, the reason that they have difficulty in succeeding is because they, for one, people are not in general inclined to follow someone like that who's, angry or hateful all the time or self-centered or so on and so forth. And if nobody will follow them, it's very difficult for them to succeed at what they're trying to do.
로종 남비 로종 저기 그래서 로종 treati 수준 나서 샘대가 봐야 걸 저기 그래서.
So in Buddhism, the most important thing is the training of the mind, and kore.
맞아. 지칭적으로 그래서 막 로종 저기 그래서.
Yeah.
로종 가르쳐 그러나 또 샘대가 봐야 답지.
Okay, so the main practice is lojong, and what is this, or lojong, sorry, mind training, taming the mind. And what is this taming the mind? It's purifying the mind and, I need to do some lojong.
What I said. 다 샘반지와 샘주주다 답시.
Introduce.
주주 change.
Yeah. Okay.
Talk
It's the method by
to
which we change the mind, transform the mind.
Then we say, why we need to change our mind? The caution comes, right? Therefore, 단다 방송해야지. 문제야 대화 방법, 문제야 동하다, 문제야 대화 방법 들어왔어. 근데 대화가 동하대 좀 알아서 생각지 그래서.
So now, at the present moment, we have various things which we want and also things which we don't want, like happiness and suffering. And the fundamental, or the, how can I say, the root of these things is the mind.
Because if you are very happy mind, you always very relaxed. You very short temper. What's that? Short temper?
Short temper.
You very short temper. You always, what do you call it? Stressed. This no, we don't need to very deep reasons. You can check, just we just go to public place. We can just hit each other. We know we have more short temper, then they're more unhappy, more nervous. Who is more relaxed, then this more happy, more comfortable. Therefore, we need to change our mind lot, okay? Today is a time to sit down, take all of that, Lojo Mambo Cheveris,
so in order to transform this Shedang, so in order to transform the anger and hatred from our minds, we have to not only practice taming the mind or training the mind, but we have to do it a lot. It's not easy to accomplish changing anger and hatred around into something else. We have to actually put a lot of effort into it and do it again and again.
Maybe just they come new, with an iPhone. Then we have to do many things inside, but for that to know, they need to learn that. So tambu ko lojo che was. Lojo cheni ta shuma ko leka de ma de was. So mazo tambu lojo mo che was.
So I think the example that he's trying to give is like we see something new, like the iPhone, for example, and it seems like it came from, they just produced that. But actually, in order to make something amazing like the iPhone, they have to know all of everything that goes inside the iPhone, how it all works. So in order to train the mind, it's not so easy to just say, I'm going to change my mind today. You have to start inside. You have to figure out how the mind is actually working and how to put into it what it needs in order to be transformed. Yeah, we have to do a lot of mind training, a lot.
Even you study maybe life, not just a couple hours, not just a couple months, not just a couple years. If it is easy, everybody change very easily. But it's not easy.
Yeah, so it's not easy, but it can become familiar. Right?
Familiar.
Yeah, so little by little, as we turn it over in our mind, as we think about it, it becomes more and more familiar. So while it's not easy to do, little by little, it's not so hard either, I think.
배나 담보 준소 따스듯이 담보 내려비 가려야 나도 데트 가셔도 마치 안에 된다 상모다도 봐셔도 안 만도 로고나 나도 냠도 로나 가려도 왔어. 그래서 막 가면 냠도 로에는 로도 뭐 가려도 왔어.
아, 로도
로를 이렇게 read that. Whoever first come here, they try to just we read together. But everybody follow more difficult, right? First you come here, but then you can again. Then
I got it now. Yeah. Can you guys understand it? I understood what he's saying now. Like at first when people come here and have the prayers that we do at the beginning, it's like, oh, what's going on? Like, and everyone's reading at different speeds and it's kind of a cacophony. But after you come again and again, little by little, people get the hang of it, and then soon it starts to go well. So it's like that.
Yeah.
It becomes familiar over time.
Everything. Even first you use computer, more difficult maybe. I don't know you guys. First I come here, you always have mistake. Don't you always tell me, can you fix? But it's still I don't know much. I don't know anything in the computer, but I know how you open. How you shut down? Before I come here, always I do mistake. Don't you always come here to after job, after work, you have to fix. Everything is familiar. Therefore, mind training also familiar. Just thinking. What your mind going on? What motivation or what mind more stronger? How you little go down, some mind little go up. Read books, then what book keeps information. Follow this card, check just little bit, maybe 2 seconds every day. And then slowly. Okay, this is just I talking. Then now we go to start the book. And the sholoka, you should stop doing this. You should lose it.
Okay, so we're going to read verse 27 together. We finished 26 last Wednesday. So I guess I'll read it. To bodhisattvas who want a wealth of virtue, those who harm are like the precious treasure. Therefore, towards all cultivating patience without hostility. This is the practice of bodhisattvas.
Okay. Everybody understand what meaning their verses? Can we do this?
It depends on how bad the person who wants to harm me is.
Yeah, 그래서 나 지금 단단히 다 zopa
So this topic here is about patience.
Right. Are you guys very patient? 근데 zopa gombala tennis. 내가도 다투고 아니 대화를 너무 쇼파 더 베이스.
So on the basis of meditating patience, we can achieve temporary and ultimate so we can achieve the temporary and ultimate happiness.
Used, right? What got used?
Oh, chuba.
Yeah, chuba. Who want to shopa?
Yeah. So the people who practice that.
Non shopa.
Dila yure.
Correct.
Non shopa.
Yeah.
Kuwa.
Tambode.
Hane non chu.
Non shopa.
Yeah.
Non shopa. Always used.
Yeah, behavior.
Yeah, behavior. Then that 내가 다 소와 공부를 했네. 뭐? 소와 공부를 했는 저거 내가 다 두고 대화 도구요 했어.
Yeah.
근데 대화도 너무 쉬어봤던 게 제가 상주상 봤어.
Okay. So actually, by on the basis of meditating patience, then a person achieves like this temporary, like in the meantime, like immediate happiness, but also the ultimate type of happiness, which is, I assume, Jongjubro.
Yeah,
is enlightenment. And the person who has this wealth of immediate and ultimate happiness is the Bodhisattva.
근데 상주 삼바서 던지게 대화도 너무 쉬어봤던 도구요 했어. They want to this.
Yeah, they want to attain the wealth.
Right? 근데 이제 다 던지게 너무 던지게 대화도 술을 때문에 토거나. 다 너희가 저거라도 도발했어.
So they want to attain that wealth, the bodhisattvas. They want to attain that wealth by practicing patience. But who do they attain that wealth from? They actually attain that wealth from the person who harms them.
내가 너희가 저거대 럼보체 때렸다. 당가서 럼보체 때려요. 나 당가서 자오치 무시로 왔어. 럼보체 때. 자오치 important.
Yeah. Okay, so this the person who harms you is actually like Rinpoche there, so like a treasury of jewels, like I think it's a metaphor for wealth anyway. So the idea is that the wealth is this happiness that you achieve, and the person who harms you, they're like the treasury filled with that wealth. So
근데 너희가 저거디 아니 다 저에게 냠len. 소바.
So
냠len. 다 자는 구적이었어.
Yeah. Kuta. Sorry. Go ahead. Did I get it?
No, he.
Oh, he. Okay.
He give who's your what's that? Harmony, enemy.
Enemy. Yeah, the one who harms you.
Yeah, he or she gives to patience, practice patience.
Yeah.
Therefore, if you 진짜 kenangi nekadon tatuku zowa gumbala tene zowa gumbala tene tope nekadon tatuku dewate jeto karna tan leje jawo teres.
Yeah. So the root, the foundation of the happiness, the immediate and ultimate happiness that you desire to achieve through the practice of meditating on patience is actually the person who harms you. And what he said before, just to translate the bit he said before, so I think we didn't get that, is that it's the person who harms you that actually provides you with the opportunity to practice patience. So in that way, they actually give you the wealth that you achieve through patience. You can't have it without them. Yeah. So
anyway, they give all the world.
Yeah, there is in here they're calling the let's see the English here. Those who harm are like a precious treasure. So the precious treasure is the rinchen there, but the rinchen, the jewel that they're talking about, is a jewel which you can just basically, if you have this jewel, this is a mythical thing. If you have this jewel, anything you wish for, you can have it. So you can wish for, $1 bajillion or whatever, and you would have it. So he's saying, I don't know if that's actually a real thing or not, but the person
any worldly thing you wish for.
Hmm?
Any worldly thing you wish for. Mike.
I missed that.
I can't hear what he's saying.
Any worldly thing you wish for.
Oh,
It's not anything, right?
Any worldly thing you wish
okay.
for.
Yeah, of course, not without, okay? That's good. Yeah.
Anyway.
If that kind of jewel exists right now, everybody wish to there. Nobody want to go walk. Just stay home, maybe play the jewel. That I don't know this jewel so exist or not. Then that kanji maji, that better it, another better. Then you go Rinpoche yona, take another that general thing along to come check your risk. Better naji, no you draw, Kirangi Zowa Gumaratini, Devachan check your risk.
Okay, so the example being given here is of this jewel with which you can wish to achieve, to receive wealth. And what it's being used to illustrate is that the person who causes harm to you is like a jewel, in that, in relation to that person, you can practice patience. And by practicing that patience, you achieve the wealth of immediate and ultimate happiness.
아니 다 소소가 작감 쳐서라야 하면 animals 이게 셔도면 봐 공로면 봐 맵 공로면에 다 소바고나 자세션들 나래스.
Yeah, so he's saying, okay, so the last two lines is what he's commenting on now. So because that that person who causes harm to you is so important, like so incredibly important, then in relation to whoever the enemy is, whoever your enemy is, or whoever the person is antagonizing you, whoever they may be, without any anger, without any hatred at all, you have to cultivate patience. And that is the practice of the Bodhisattva. Yeah. Can you guys understand? He's asking, does that make sense to you that the enemy is important? It maybe defies common sense, but when you read this verse, it makes sense.
We don't just think it. We say, oh, enemy is very hard for us. We say, what are you talking about? Enemy is my enemy. Everybody think, right? We say, we go to maybe public place. We say, well, guys, enemy is very hard for us. They think, oh, crazy. I think 100% they think.
You think you're crazy?
Yeah, they're crazy, right? Enemy is enemy. What they can't? They say, no, can't and enemy completely different, right? Therefore, we say, enemy is very can't means. They think, oh, you need to go mess. What's that? Mentor daughter.
You guys understand?
You got it? But
if you went somewhere, just say, if you went somewhere in public and then you told people, oh, the enemy is so incredibly kind, people will think these two things are totally opposite. You're like, you must be mad. Like, what are you saying? Maybe you need to go to the mental hospital.
right. 근데 이제 딱 가서 조파 세대 간이를 무슨 나타 공주가 먼저 줘서 공주가 먼저 줘.
먼저 줘.
Opposite.
Okay.
Opposite of anger.
Yeah. So he's saying this patience. What is it? What is this patience? It's actually the direct opposite of anger.
근데 anger 살아지니 anger 저도 더워. 공주 나서 더워.
아,
공주 나서 we show what's it? We show anger. We show anger for enemy, right?
Yeah.
근데 저오면은 아주 공주용 말아왔어.
So he's saying like you show anger in relation to someone who's your enemy, and if there's no enemy, there's no anger.
If no anger, then no patience. If no patience, you don't get that.
So I think you guys can probably follow the logic already, and I don't need to translate, but I will. You all got it, right? No, I'm just kidding. He's saying, like, just following that logic down, because you have anger in relation to an enemy, you can't have anger unless there's an enemy there. And because patience is actually has to be done in relation to the arisal of anger, you need to have the enemy there in order to achieve the immediate and ultimate happiness. By
we don't want to worry to maybe not find enemy.
that sounds good.
We have a lot of animals. And what's that? We have a lot of animals. What's the animal? Enemies.
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 I think he's saying what he was saying is you don't have to worry about trying to find enemies. I think he's saying don't go out searching for enemies.
Enemy means what? We don't like some he or she. This is the enemy. Who he or she hurt our mind. This is we say this animal means enemy means you don't need to take what is the guns, So,
Yeah, it's not strictly like someone you're going to do battle against. It's not like a person with a gun or a weapon. It means anybody who causes harm to your mind. Basically, people you don't like them.
tendeji bada ta tendedi kaniji na yongorna. Ta tangi ngato tambo la de susu sem dapo yapo maje bada ta draw mo le yongores. Where they come from? These enemies.
Yeah. So, where do these enemies come from? Out in the world, they come from if we don't. So if we don't actually control our mind well, if we are not in charge of our own minds, then suddenly you have all kinds of enemies in the world.
남주 가디나 draw 돼. 출근에 거기는 튀고 나도 가면 걔네들로 왔어.
Yeah. So it's said that the enemy comes from outside.
Everybody think that.
Yeah. So the enemy is somebody out there that comes against you. That's what's said.
But if we don't do anything wrong for others, then no one harm us.
Yeah. So I think you said it perfectly the first time.
You sure?
Yeah.
For example, we burn our hand for fire.
Yeah, it's also, you said it right clearly. Yeah, so if you don't stick your hand in the fire doesn't come across and burn your hand, You have to actually put your hand in the fire for the fire to burn it.
Usually this is not general. Sometimes they may be fire, maybe half or something fire, maybe we don't want to jump there, We are there, maybe they burn. But generally,
In general, yeah.
In general. We doesn't put our hand to the fire. The fire doesn't come to burn our hand.
Yeah. The example.
Yeah, example. Many texts also example is. Therefore, if we put our mind on the fire, then fire can burn. If we don't put our hand on the fire doesn't burn. Then when we burn our mind, who fall?
Your hand.
Our fall. Even our mind, hand on it, because the hand go there. Then fire burn. 진짜 배대나시 아주 담보 수수 저거 차야겠다 미워 그래요. 될 반대지니 내가 다 차서 그래.
So he's saying in like this, like the example with the fire in your hand, if towards the person who you think of as your enemy, you haven't done something, yeah, if you haven't done some harm to them, done some harm across to them, then there is no harm to be returned to you.
근데 가는 전에 가서 담보 파 거기랑 가 그런데 쭉고서 가서 내가 제가 말했어.
Kali gives he's speaking too fast.
아니 시험 그러니. We have to speak really slowly. Yeah, this is also my problem. Even I speak Tibetan, and Tibetan is very difficult to understand. My speech is very fast, also not killing. Therefore, tendenza 남주 링하고 샤와 샤와때 미신발 메끼고 쌈니 내가 제가 말해서 마셔.
Yeah. So ngaju kore.
We usually activities. Not thinking we need to harm others, but ordinarily they harm others. 나라서 세상 내가 가르치는 무신발 내 주삼을 내가 제가 말했어.
So our own anger, like when we get angry,
No.
Whatever action or activities that we are doing.
But this action, this activity harms others. But first we don't have motivation. We say, oh, I need to harm others, therefore I do this. We don't have this motivation. But we have what kind of motivation? We say, I'm the best one. Whatever I say, this is the right. Whatever I think, this is the right. This kind of motivation, then we do activities. This harm others.
That's very clear. Yeah,
That's correct.
That's very clear. Everyone understood, right? Yeah.
Usually we just talk, some group all talk, then something say, they hurt some others. So who they talk that they don't have maybe motivation, or I need to say better somehow, he or she, but he think, oh, whatever I say is right. And this is not, thing. He has very strong, what's that?
Yeah, he doesn't have, or he does have, right?
Oh, he does.
Yeah, he has great self-grasping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
근데 대다 삼선때 야보 여기 삼선도 그 놀고 요즘 말했으나 마제 그 놀대 했어.
Yeah, so sometimes there is no fault, no mistake, but most of the time there is some fault there.
근데 그 야보 매와 인자 아니 나라 수치 계셔셔봐다 내가 지나 아니 몇십 받았다 모두 색채는 뭐 몇째 요리했어.
Yeah, so because this person is not good, then just in the course of like having conversations with people or whatever, there is some harm done to people, even unintentionally, because the because he has the self-grasping. Yeah.
근데 쟤네들은 가서 드라마 볼라요. 그래 왔을 때니 거기서 나 걸감이 나 뭘감에서 드라마 볼라요. 왔어.
Yeah. So then in the course of that person's life, all kinds of enemies start popping up everywhere. People who he's harmed inadvertently, by having this self-grasping and not really controlling his mind, then enemies just start popping up.
근데 이봐서 딱 가서 샘 수수 샘 야보 답을 잡나 샘 돌나.
So if we control our own minds well, if we discipline our own minds,
근데 다 드라고 간가 매로 그랬어.
So then little by little our enemies diminish. They go away.
장원이 때 가서 샘 매요 그랬어. Real enemies are mind.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah. The real enemy is our mind.
제세 친구 셔발레가 손을 그랬어.
Yeah. This is in the great Bodhisattva Shantideva's writings.
He have some example. Usually, in India and Tibetan, the summertime people doesn't have wear the shoes. They're just walking, no shoes. Even maybe here, maybe they go to without shoes. People think, oh, this is cozy. But if you have to go outside, walk without shoes, the road's not good, then many things come to our feet, maybe
Glass,
there.
stones.
Therefore, for example, he gives, if you have to go to all the world, you need to cover leather all the world. You don't have enough to leather. Therefore, you can just cover under your feet, same as you cover all the world.
Yeah. So there's a verse in the Bodhicharyavatara. I'm sure you guys have remembered this verse, but a famous verse where he's talking about using as an example of dealing with problems, adversity or enemies or whatever, like a person who has no shoes, who may want to walk outside. Does it make more sense to cover the entire earth with leather, or to just put some leather around your feet? If you put the leather around your feet, it's like covering the entire earth with leather. So it's more practical.
This, for example, now what kind of example? If you have to enemy, you have to kill one by one. Never ever finish. Because sentient beings limit type.
Limitless.
Limitless. Therefore, you have enemy limitless. Therefore, you can kill your mind. Maybe it's not good word. This is simple, na? And the drachana, that's what you is.
Yeah. So the example, what do we say? The parallel to this example is the thorns and glass and those types of things on the surface of the earth are like your enemies. So you could take the course of like someone trying to cover the entire earth with leather and try to take out all of those enemies one by one, but because sentient beings are limitless, you would be doing that for eternity. On the other hand, you can discipline your own mind and enemies disappear.
Indeed,
Yeah, so 양키를 쓰는 아이가 약고하고 니네 양키를 쓰는 Yeah. So if you control, if you discipline your own mind well, then anger disappears.
It's short. We can talk about short.
Okay.
Short explain.
Okay.
Can you say this?
Sure. This is duba, right?
Duba.
Yeah, this is the abridged explanation of patience. He's looking. Yeah.
6 or 6. If you can read.
Did you find the verse?
Yeah, it's okay. You can read the 6th chapter.
Yeah. This book is for you, in case you don't know. I think other people probably know because it's talked about a lot here. But the text is called what's the English title on there?
The Way of the Bodhisattva.
The Way of the Bodhisattva, and it's a text by the 7th century Indian Pandit Shantideva, and the 6th chapter of that text is all about patience. So the verse that we just mentioned about the leather and the feet is in that book, and he's saying you can get the full explanation in that text.
Of the text, one chapter, all talk about anger. And there are many reasons, but we don't want to go to the details. Today, but
Yeah, or you want to ask Sutram or Sopa?
No.
So before, last week we talked about how many types of ethic there are, and now we're going to talk about how many types of patience there are. So how many types of patience are there? There's 3 of these. Yeah. Okay. So So the patience of bearing with suffering. Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah. It's the type of patience which endures suffering, to bear suffering. Not the patience of not returning, not responding to harm. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, Gongda. I remember now. Okay, so the third one is the patience of understanding or ascertaining the Dharma. So like not giving up in the study of Dharma, being able to bear with like the practice and learning these things. So it takes a long time, like you said at the beginning, maybe many lifetimes.
솔라다 심 무추바 심 무shum바.
Okay, so what is the essence? What is the nature of this patience? It's characteristic. It's senyi, right? And its characteristic is when harm is done to you, that the mind does not become shomba. Mishomba, yeah, the mind doesn't.
내지는 가도 갖다 맞아. 누가 전화가 나 빼서 막 쉬대.
네, 그래 누제 치나? 되네 갑대.
노가 띵이잖아. 나도 술 노가 띵이나 셈 맞춰봐.
Yeah. So So the first aspect of this is when harm is actually done. There's two things. There's harm and there's suffering. So when harm is done to you, that it doesn't agitate the mind at all. So like anger doesn't come up and so forth. And then the second one is So the So the patience. The first one was the patience of what, not responding to harm. Or was that the second? It was niva. Tangbola di dungala dang. Tango bira.
내저를 좀 다다시다 식당에 좀 그 모셔.
나도 숨이래요.
되는 게 숨도 자간냐도 메다 봉이.
Okay.
노동 나오시도.
Okay, so the first he gave the names of these. Now he's giving examples of their nature, but they're not following the same order. So anyway, just take it as he gives them. Anyway, so the first one was not the nature of that type of patience is for the mind to not be agitated when harm is done to you, so anger doesn't arise. And the second one is when suffering, when a person has, suffering is incurred or you're bearing suffering, you don't become dejected. Like the mind doesn't become kind of shumba, like, I don't know, weighed down or oppressed by the suffering.
Hopeless.
Yeah, hopeless. Yeah, sure.
된지 마요 심지라다 조바스.
Yeah, for those things not happening, that's patience. So when those things don't occur, that's what's called patience. The non-arisal of those things.
Okay, you write down. 다 뇌절의 지문입에서 와서 간지 laps나. 뇌절의 지문입에서 와서 해야 돼 간지 이제잖아.
So how is the patience which doesn't return harm for harm?
된지대 소소라 지금 뇌가 ting이지 좋아했나? 소소라 뇌가 ting이로 좋아했나? 대라 다 공조파 마상이 생기를 해서
공조파
파마다 against back.
Yeah. Masa.
Not angry.
Yeah. Okay. So then that one, the patience which doesn't return harm for harm, is when someone does something harmful to you, then you don't respond with anger. Anger doesn't come up for you against the person.
된지기 조배 냠냈던 가서 다 된지기 조배 냠냈던 가서 저걸 되는 거를 다.
예, 그렇죠.
내전에 지민이면서 와. 그래서 봐. 가서 저걸 되는 거를. 저거서 enemy that.
Yeah.
This practice come from enemy.
Yeah, that's good. I think you can say all of these things. You're putting me through a trial. No, okay. So I have to practice my own patience. No, he's saying that. So then this patience, not returning harm for harm, which means when someone does something harmful to you, you don't respond to that with anger or hatred. It doesn't arise in response to that. This requires the enemy, actually. You need the enemy to do that.
대단해 조지 별 배워서 조지로. 근데 콜라야 아사라 요포 코로 서오지랬어. 아사라.
아타라수.
다 지미지가 가신도 가서 코나 게트 코로 서오지랬어.
Okay, so George Atisha is a very I'm sorry, do you know who Atisha is? Okay, I'll tell you just really quickly. He was a very famous pundit from India who was invited to Tibet in the 11th century and has been a seminal figure in the establishment of Buddhism in Tibet. Anyway, Atisha traveled together with one acharya, that's like a professor, a Buddhist professor from India. He traveled around with him, who was just nasty. He just said like really mean things all the time.
Yeah.
It was really difficult. So he always had this guy with him.
Amazing.
So the Tibetan students like suggested to Atisha, why don't you get rid of this guy? Like, we can get this guy out of here. And then Atisha said, yeah, this is my root teacher of patience. I can't get rid of this guy. So if we control dengue, yeah, okay, good. Then we have the chance to practice patience. Yeah.
Even just we stare on the house, everything's perfect. Then we say, oh, I'm meditation patient. I don't know. But how you meditation patient, they talk about chapter 5,
6.
Chapter 6. You guys read again and again. But the most strength read maybe a couple times. Oh, Tenji is that?
I have a question, Geshe. Is it possible for someone to practice patience without the enemy by, I don't know how to say it. By taming the mind, by taming, like a solitary realizer or someone in the cave, because I read that and I was thinking to myself, like some of the great thinkers who, withdrew into the caves or, on their own, is it possible for them to have tamed their minds without having the enemy right in front of them, or do they need the enemy?
No, they don't need to. First we need to develop, we need to enemy. Then more develop, we don't need to enemy in front of that. Bodhisattva, they are not enemies there. Their enemies are us, because we don't listen for them. Right? Enemy means they always argue with them. Bodhisattvas practice patience, right? But who's the enemies? Our look like the enemy, because we don't listen them. They say, oh, don't lie, don't pay them. We don't. We always do against them. Enemy means not just argue with them. I don't know this kind, but not necessarily we call it.
It's not necessarily correct. Yeah, it's not necessarily have an enemy right in front of you. Yeah.
Usually yourself is pretty good.
Thank you. Yeah, your real enemy is your mind. So I guess even if you are in a cave, the enemy is still there.
Oh yeah. Insane.
Well, you can get angry by yourself.
Yeah.
All by yourself.
Oh, all the time. Yeah.
All the time.
You don't angry by yourself.
Sure.
Try to don't angry by yourself, okay? Otherwise, who angry themselves? Somebody they kill themselves. Right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, but you're not angry at yourself.
No.
Yeah.
You're not angry at yourself. You get angry.
In liberation of how your hand, what he talks about, he says like, okay, you don't think you can do analytical meditation. You don't think you can do analytical meditation. Yet you'll sit in your room for 2.5 hours thinking about what you're going to do when you see John and how you're going to insult him.
Right.
Okay, that's what I mean. You can be all by yourself and still just sit there thinking about John and Mary and what they said to you, at the office, and what you're going to do when you show up at the office tomorrow, and boy, you're going to show them.
Planning the attack.
Yeah.
nga midi kadu nga tongna nga tik zao di lang yi di draw gong control gong chigiri Meditating on anger.
It's actually worse because if you get angry, if you return anger with anger, okay, so you're not building patience, but you're also accumulating a horrible amount of bad karma that's just going to bring you into contact with more miserable people. It's going to make you angry. Potentially the thing just goes on forever.
Negative meditation.
That kind of meditation, the negative, angry. We think, today somebody said bad things for us. We say, how can I say back? This is a meditation for angry, right? And we say, yeah, he or she really told me these bad things, but we say, oh, he does
So he said instead of thinking like how the person has said something to you and how you're gonna skillfully like jab back at them later, what you need to think instead is, well, he did say these bad things to me, but he has no power of his own. He's completely under the control of delusions and afflicted mental states, and it's not really his fault. So
you think this, then you have maybe more or less. You say, oh, I want to talk some. I would say, maybe this word maybe a little less.
Could also think it's the fruition of bad karma too, past bad karma.
Yeah, this is also good.
Yeah.
We say, oh yeah, I did bad things. Now the karma come back.
Yeah.
What's that? Willow weapon something.
Wheel of sharp weapons.
Willow sharp weapons. Come again, you.
This is a famous thing in Hindu epics, actually. It's a tool that like Indian gods have, this wheel that's made with all these blades, and they can throw it out and it chops up everybody like an army, and then it comes back into the guy's hand. So there's a famous text on trying to deal with anger and being patient called the Wheel of Sharp Weapons, which is a Buddhist text, but it says like your karma is like that. You think you're getting them back by shooting out some sharp words, but they always come back. Yeah, so be careful.
Good. Okay. 다들 너희들 전문님에서 왔던 것도 잡아드는 거지. Then dunga 담지에서 왔어야지. 또 너도 강에 리란나서 생각 dunga 주로 담아도 왔는 너도 생각 dunga 먹고 왔어.
Yeah. So now we finished talking about the patience of not returning anger for anger, which has to do with dealing with enemies. Now we're talking about patience with suffering. So this one has to do with the sufferings of mind, the sufferings of body, things outside around us that cause us to suffer.
근데 수수 dunga 되기. Okay?
No, just a good.
근데 dunga 왔다 dunga 뭐 보여와. dunga 되기 수수 개와시 발라. 받침 모양 와시. 샘 마슈말는다 뭐래. 호블레트.
Yeah.
근데 샘주 맞아와. 뭐나 dunga 당지서 왔어.
So
강에 쳐와이나 강에라 돈에 쳐도 진짜 강에는 쳐발라 때니 가래다 수수이 개와 쳐받은 참 맞아 봤잖아. 근데 이거
Kundala.
참 맞아. dunga 강에 다 강에로 와. 그러니까 페스티벌 매상 포함이나.
Yeah.
Softens. This can't soften cost. Don't cost was it? The cost you practice study, then you don't study, you don't practice. No, not this one. I don't know. 간지 맞지. 저랑 dunga. dunga도 영화라 때문에 저랑기 로종 냠내 저발라 만내 버리셔나 dunga 당지에서 봤어.
Okay, so the patience of bearing with suffering is when the various different types of sufferings happen to oneself. Then, the lojong, like the studies or
만내나.
Yeah.
Don't harm.
Yeah.
We have some, for example, we have something bad happen. You say,
Yeah.
today I don't want to go center. I don't want to study.
So
This come out.
yeah, this the patience which bears with suffering is when the various sufferings that can happen to you mentally and physically and things from the outside world happen, they don't have the power to oppress the mind or to make a person dejected or depressed, you don't give up on like what you need to do. So if you have to go to study in class or if you have to do something for other people, you don't have the feeling like, I can't do that, it's like too miserable. Or so it's a patience which allows you to not fall into that kind of like depressed or dejected state when there's misery. So some people, they say like, well, my mind is really unhappy, like I feel really sad, so I can't study today, or I feel really sad, so I can't practice today. So if this happens, then they're not actually practicing the patience of bearing with sufferings. So causing conditions. Oh, so then the final one, that he said in conclusion to the one about bearing with suffering, that's just a very small example. So he's going on now to the third one, which is the patience of, I don't know, how do we say? Chulange? Chulangesem, like the the patience of like being able to ascertain the Dharma, to really penetrate, like getting into it. So in order to really understand like the pith, nge, this verb nge has to do with like understanding the reality of it. So this is not just like I know the names of a few things, but really practicing the Dharma until you penetrate into it. So the patience like associated with being able to ascertain the Dharma has to do with studying about, what was it?
Study Dharma, then you think about bodhicitta, bodhicitta, compassion, and
refuge.
Emptiness, refuge. Just you study, also think about, read book, think about.
Without tiring of that, I think. So it's not like it's the type of patience which I think you need in order to achieve anything. So it means like being able to, all of these things, so like from the simplest things, like the Four Noble Truths that you maybe learn at the beginning, and cause and effect and refuge, to bodhicitta, to emptiness, to big things, all of them, being able to sit with them and keep them and study them without feeling like, I'm kind of sick of this. So I think it's a type of patience that allows you to really penetrate through the kind of outer layers of the Dharma and get really at the essence of it.
Okay.
A question. It's just a very practical question, and you raised an interesting point. Let's assume you come home from work and you spend a lousy day. All the way home you've been meditating on like what you're going to say to John in the morning.
What did John do to you, by the way?
I mean, it's just you're there, and so you come in, you come home, and there's your altar, there's the meditation cushion, there's your mala, there's the prayer board, and don't discourage it, but it's sort of like a self-awareness sort of thing. This isn't going to work tonight. This just isn't going to work tonight. Okay? How do you get it to work? I'm not saying like, I'm all angry and I don't want it, but if you actually think about it, it's going to be really hard to form a good motivation to like clear my head. Okay, how do you, at that particular point, how do you put the leather on the sole of your foot?
Then sometimes, tene lega jela kirang sen yakushida mindu tene control mango ye tene mi chik tsawo labna tene kirang gamushida me tene nama drodu kirang kare di kare condition di chorten bang di sangi ki ku tongdu kirang sawatan chetugi me. Di yagun do telling control you, me kunong yakushadamen do chetugi mare. Kiran samna, dene kandes yapo chetugi me.
대 담보잖아 컨트롤 메워서 그랬어.
Yeah, so first of all, you have to get rid of that anger.
저는 컨트롤 가지 사 그랬어.
Uh,
저는 컨트롤 가지 사 그랬어. 스페셜로.
so,
아이.
yeah, how is it that you have anger?
그래서 저한테 컨트롤 사와라 때니 저랑이 컨트롤 님성 당고 그디나 그디나 당고.
So first of all, you can do that by thinking about like what's the root of this anger? What are the faults of this anger? So you know you have the anger. So you have to think like there's something wrong with this anger.
Also, usually, always we need to think about control 님을 당고.
Yeah, the faults, what's wrong with anger.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Always, yeah.
근데 다 direct control. I don't know who give you, who show you angry. Someone shows angry, then you think about whose fault.
Yeah.
So, also, if you're angry, maybe all the time, maybe a couple hours, if they make you happy or more sad.
Are you miserable?
What is it?
Miserable, unhappy.
Yeah.
Nobody likes being angry. Nobody likes being angry.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true.
Yeah. Nobody like. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Therefore, try to stop, but not easy. Even anger come, doing that we have stop this more difficult. Usually we think about faults for angry, then we have more chance to. But we ordinary is very difficult, stop to angry anytime. But always think about faults for angry. Then that time you have maybe very serious think about faults, then less angry. If you angry them, but the anger not stay a long time. So today is that what pound? What's pound? Today is that because channel control lie when they are. Channel separate you when they are. Channel 2 lane channel gate. But you check that you are so. Don't stop.
Okay, so he's saying like first of all, if anger comes up, you have to think like this anger is like has so many problems, and I'm unhappy with this anger. It doesn't make you feel good. You feel unhappy when you have this anger. Then, correct. Nyamlenche.
다 저런 게 당겨 삼고 다 나갈래 가 나래 좋아도 주된 좀 통데 다 들이 재면서 이거야 말했어.
You
don't stop.
Yeah.
Don't give up.
Yeah. So, I think you guys got it anyway. But he's saying like if you think that way, first of all, reflecting on like first noticing that you're angry. It's good that you notice. Second, reflecting on the problems with being angry. What kind of problems you get from that. Third, that you're unhappy when you're angry. And then when you look at your cushion or you come in the house and you think, I can't practice this, I can't do this, you have to have a sense, I'm not going to give up. Don't give up. To have some hope. So I think actually this is exactly the third type of patience that they're talking about, is the type of patience that lets you sit down on that cushion and say the prayers or whatever your practice for the day is.
Also that time you think, oh, I'm sorry, come to you, front of you, Buddha or whatever that. Today I do very bad things. I show angry. Please give me. No, I apologize. Then purify the negatives.
Yeah, that's really good.
Also, you think also, I never ever do again this once. Therefore, we have to purify negatives.
Remedial powers.
Like the four
For
powers.
powers.
For opposing
You
things.
pass station from the Buddha, you think about, you do practice, therefore, you say, oh, I did, I'm sorry, I never do again. Then pass station, read books, then you finish the negatives also. Okay?
Sounds great.
Okay.
Did you? I'm sorry for you. Did you get that? Okay. There are four they're called the four opponent powers, right?
Opposing powers.
So I think the four opponent powers are regret, right? Resolution. So regret means like you recognize you did something wrong or that you didn't like or that's bad karmically. So you regret having done it. Resolve, which means you promise not to do it again. And then the
refuge is first. Refuge, regret, resolve, and
the basis, which is actually compassion usually. So there's a, I don't know, the ones that,
FPMT is a nice little 4 R's.
yeah.
So
Yeah, the first one is the basis.
Yeah.
The power of the basis, which is whoever you've harmed, usually. And that, I think usually the description of that one is to generate compassion.
Yeah.
So
the 4 R's they use to remember it is you say refuge first.
Oh, refuge.
Because any negative thing you do, either negative in relation to the Buddhas, so then you generate refuge, or it's negative in relation to other beings, so you generate bodhicitta, so that would be refuge. And then the second one is the regret, and then the remedy, the actual practice, and then the resolve is last. So
good.
The 4 R's.
Okay, everybody got it?
So far, so great.
Okay.
That's great.
I think that's it. We finish it. Now we do
Homework.
Very clean, very close, very not many talk. Okay.
He gives some questions usually each week to the students to think about and come back and answer the following.
I practice my English. How many divisions are there in terms of ethics? Did you understand?
How many divisions are there in terms of ethics?
3.
Okay. Give me one by one.
The ethics of restraint.
If you said 3, you be very past.
Yeah, the ethics of restraint, where you abandon your faults, like you said, in relation to whatever vows you have.
Okay.
Yeah. 고성해. Domba.
Yeah.
So the first one.
That's the third one.
You said the
Well,
best.
that's her
That's
first
the
one.
third one, but yeah.
Okay. Who gets second one? Maybe Delos, maybe Andy?
Morality of not harming sentient beings.
Yeah, Sanjita. Then what other one? Nijita Mitram, Sanjita Jitra. Then what? What are the 3? I don't remember.
To benefit yourself?
Sanjita Jitra.
Amassing virtue.
Yeah, amassing virtue, right?
What is it?
Gevachudi Jitra. Oh, Gevachudi Jitra. Gevachudi Jitra. Gevachudi Jitra. Gevachudi Jitra. I'm a little on this. Why you do this? Why you do that?
Yeah,
Yeah, Gevachudi Jitra.
yeah.
Okay? Can you say?
So the ethic of amassing virtuous dharmas, so virtuous qualities.
Anybody got anything? 3?
Yeah.
Okay? Anybody got it? Don't forget next time, okay? Okay, now second question. What is the essence of ethic? Is correct? Essence. Okay? Who said? Who is voluntary? Maybe dealers?
Practicing virtue or morality?
고성이 기호하다 수준 양내지.
Say it.
Okay, what is it?
I said good conduct without any expectation of reward.
Then? Okay, you can read this answer, okay.
Okay, so his answer was, it is the mind that wishes to excise the grounds for harming others. So that wishes to just cut out the basis of wanting to harm other people.
Okay, everybody got it? Okay.
Didn't Shin Nu Shir Kari? I'm asking him what the grounds for harming others are.
Jen is Shimithina. Jen is other.
Yeah.
Jen is harmlet.
Hmm?
The Jen is root.
Yeah, yeah.
Was it? Zawani.
Yeah. So the grounds, the foundation.
grounds, yeah.
Then it? Shir Kari.
Shima, no, this not they talk about the four, number four.
Okay.
They're not talking about what we call Shima is Ageshi.
I know. She. Hago-san.
Yeah.
Tunda Hago-san. Ini. She karare di perna. Then shendu she perna karare.
Shendu perna. The Jimbala. Never changing samba. Sawan neba.
Yeah. Okay. So when it says like it's the mind that wishes to excise the grounds for harming others, it means it's the thought of wanting to completely pull out from the root, even the thought that you would hurt someone else. So the appearance of the causes and conditions for the thought of wanting to harm others becoming completely extinct. Right? So it's also the mind, the thought of not even, that it's not even, like, how can I say it? So if you think of like non-virtue or sin or something like, evil or mean, the thought that just thinks, that's not even a possibility for me, like, no way. So. Yeah, there's a lot that we could say about that. So.
Okay, now third question. Why is it necessary to guide one's ethic? Okay, who gives answer? Go ahead.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Because you harm others and in turn you harm yourself.
No, they're not that
You don't go there.
I think it's similar to your answer.
I'll just read. I think 26 really answered that pretty well. Without ethics, you can't accomplish your own well-being, so wanting to accomplish others is laughable. So the idea is without good conduct, good rebirth is impossible, let alone liberation.
Yeah, then thought as well. It's good. I said, if you want to achieve enlightenment, how is it? Because one must guide if one wants without.
Because one must guard it if one wants Buddhahood.
Yeah.
That was his answer.
One must guard their ethics.
Yeah.
Say
So
again?
Yeah.
the question is, why is it necessary to guard one's ethics?
Right.
Because one must guard it if one wants Buddhahood. If you want Buddhahood, you have to, you have to maintain your ethics.
Also, this if you have to help or benefit others, you have to ethics.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Okay, then fourth, what is to do?
To be.
What is to be guided against in relation to ethics?
What is to be guarded against in relation to ethics?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that what I thought that meant was when you talked about thinking, oh, I'm good and I'm ethical and I'm going to be this way so people will like me or I'll be famous or I'll be rich or people will think well of me, so you have to guard against that.
So the wrong motivation for being ethical.
Wrong motivation for being ethical?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay.
I think
Well,
you should
kind of,
probably
though.
guard against that too, though. That's probably a good idea.
Okay, but what are those things you listed?
What?
Right? Like, I want to be famous.
Yeah.
I want to be whatever. What are those? And that's attachment to fame, right?
Right.
So what does that fall under? Like one of the 8 worldly dharmas or non-virtuous actions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually had a fairly similar, I mean, maybe I used a different way of labeling it, but I kind of think it's defendable as faulty or selfish motivations. So it's an impure motivation. Because, I mean, if you do something good and you're like, ooh, if I do something good, I get a little goodie at the end, that's an investment. That's no longer ethical or good conduct. You know what I mean? So I think the motivation is a big thing to guard.
I think it's maybe...
you know what I mean, or was that off track?
Well, I don't think, first of all, can I say something? Is it okay? No, I just want to say, because I think there's a mismatch here between maybe like his question, I think has to do with the third type of ethics. So there was the ethics of wanting to amass virtuous qualities, and the ethics of wanting to, work for the sake of other sentient beings. And then there's the ethics of restraint, like the ethics of taking vows. So I think this question is in relation to that. So he's looking for very specific answers. Like if you're practicing an ethics of, say, like, let's say you're doing a nyungne and you wake up at 4 a.m. or whenever we wake up in those crazy early days, and you take the vows for the day, that's a type of ethic, right?
Right, and that's like things that are prohibited you would not be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, things that are wrong by nature and then things that are wrong by prohibition.
Yeah, I think that's generally right.
Generally.
I think basically that's basically his answer too. In other words.
Yeah. Okay.
Should I just tell you?
What's
Geshe-la's answer?
How about Ed? You have anything?
No, nothing I think.
Maybe Ali?
No.
Maybe Eric. What do you call it? Getsugo Doma?
Yeah, the Gesugi Domadi, the Shramanera vows.
Getsugo Doma Soya Karlana Julikar, that Chigasula no. Teja Sojo Doma Soja Karlana. Teja Sojo.
Yeah. So who takes the Mahayana, I don't know what you guys call them, but anyway, they're the vows for lay people. So who takes the Mahayana precepts? Yeah.
Take Soja Karlana. Soja. Yeah,
Sungsha. So what is to be guarded against in relation to those?
Breaking the vows.
So when you take those Mahayana precepts, what is it you have to, guard yourself against?
Not to break them.
Right.
But why?
Yeah, it's, I think.
But what's the point of the vows? Like, what do you got? What not breaking the vows guards against something? What does it guard against?
Yeah.
Not doing them again.
What?
Do them again.
I think we are all starting to
so by saying I'm not going
the idea, we're getting close. So
by taking the vow not to lie, what am I guarding against? I'm guarding against acting, performing one of the non-virtues of speech.
Oh, so downfall.
Yeah.
So guarding against the downfall.
Yeah. So should I tell you your answer? Or?
Okay, now you should tell.
So Geshe-la's answer. So what is to be guarded against in relation to ethics? And the answer is what is disharmonious with the vows of personal freedom, the pratimoksha, and the 10, or for example, the 10 non-virtues, etc. So. Yeah. So. If you say Sultrum, if you say ethics, sorry, if you say Sultrum, his name is also Sultrum. Yeah. So if you say ethics, then there's also some promise to be kept. There's something to be done, and this guarding against is actually another way you could have said that is what is to be kept, or I don't know. Anyway, the Tibetan word literally means to guard or protect something.
So we were right, but we just didn't say it.
I think what it is it's trying to get around, like, I think when people hear vows or whatever, they just hear the words of those, and I don't do this for this day. But conceptually, really what you're doing is trying to develop an awareness that's more acute in terms of your behavior. for the period when you have those vows. So you're trying to restrain certain types of behavior that normally are allowed to go on their merry way. So when you're trying to guard against something in relation to that type of ethics, what you're guarding against are those behaviors, which are actually the 10 non-virtues, and other types of non-virtue that are basically governed underneath these different sets of vows that people take. So in one way, I think it's like we have a tendency to think of the vows in a very surface way, but actually there's a reason for taking them that has to do with how we're trying to change ourselves.
So a very bottom line answer would be breaking the vows, guarding against breaking the vows.
Yeah. Well, and breaking the vows, another way of saying that is guarding against doing any of the non-virtues that are, depending on what vows you take, you may take only
Refuge
2 or 3 of the vows, the principal vows, killing, stealing, lying, sexual misconduct, etc. You may take only a few of those vows, but as long as you take that vow, you have to be vigilant, not to allow yourself to, break that vow. So really what that means is you have to pay attention to that particular behavior. Killing, for example. You have to pay attention. Like if a mosquito is biting you and you're ready to smack it and you have that vow, you have to have that mind that says, oh, wait a minute. I can't do that.
You're not guarding against not breaking the vows simply for the sake of not breaking them.
Yeah.
So I'm guarding against not breaking the vow of not killing because killing is wrong. Not because I took a vow not to kill.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what he's saying. So that's the difference, getting underneath the vows and not just the words of the vows.
A more subtle vow is when we take the precepts and we vow not to eat until the next day. There's nothing wrong with eating, but we still take the vow not to eat till dawn the next day.
Yeah.
But there's lots of reasons for that. Lama Zopa gives reasons for taking that vow. There are numerous reasons behind the vow of not to eat after midday.
But it's not as clear as killing.
Yeah, well,
Killing is
exactly.
obviously
But
wrong
that's the
by
point. So
nature.
you're not guarding against not eating after noon. You're guarding against the reasons you don't eat after noon.
Right.
Okay, everybody got it?
Yeah.
So that's right.
Anyway, whatever you have vows, you have to keep. If you don't have these vows, you don't promise them whatever you want.
And really
if you don't
brief,
have that, you can keep 10 odd virtues. How much do you spend?
really briefly, Andy made a really nice handout summarizing the vows after last week's class, so I can hand them out. I didn't want to hand them out beforehand because they gave away answers to the questions.
Okay, thank you everybody. Okay, now it's time.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you, guys.
You didn't see?
Good.
So maybe we just do short.
Yeah,
dictation.
short.
So we'll just do page 10 maybe. Those 4 verses in order.
That's it?
Page 10.
Only page 10, okay.
And when we get to the 3rd verse, which is
Switch off and do
the 3rd verse, which is a long life prayer for His Holiness Dalai Lama, we can recognize that by requesting a long life of His Holiness, we're requesting a long life of all of our gurus, not just His Holiness. So that one verse can kind of encompass all of our teachers. Okay? So, can someone lead?
Sure, I'm sorry, what was it doing?
Just page 10 in order.
Just page 10 in order, okay.
Okay.
All right. Through this
Virtue may I swiftly, having gained Guru, Buddha's faith, place each and every sentient being without exception.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Geshe.
Have a good